certain digestive diseases and how you ought to approach that, whether I can actually tell you what to do or at least give you recommendations on what you should actually focus on or do next. If you have any questions whilst we go, you can leave them in the comments and I'll try and get to them. If you're watching this from a Facebook group, StreamYard, which is a software I'm using, doesn't let you comment unless you click their link in the description. You'll see the description of this video. It's like, you must click here. Super annoying. But if you're on my Facebook page and you want to leave a comment, then please do. Let me know where you're from, and also what your question is and how I can help. And I'll try and go through those at the end. I don't have that much time though. It took me ages to set up. I'm in a new room, but yeah, let's see how we go. So I'm just going to make sure that it is streaming everywhere first, and then I'll get to the first questions, which is actually a thyroid. I think it's a thyroid question from what I saw. I'm going to attempt to bring it up here now. Hope everyone's doing well in quarantine. Oh, one thing I thought I should talk about, it's like, I see so many people talking about Sweden and how they're dealing with the coronavirus and all that. And it's like, but they're not talking to anyone in Sweden. They just have these strong opinions. Well, look at Sweden's doing. I'm like, one person has asked me, I live in Stockholm. My partner is a coronavirus nurse. Her mum works in nursing homes. And no one's asked me anything about it. It's so funny to see people's strong opinions when they don't really understand. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I just thought it was really funny. I was thinking about that when I said, hope you're all doing well in lockdown or coming out of it, and I hope you're having a good Sunday. So yeah, looks like the stream's going well. So let's start. The first question is, I'm going to try and pull this up on the screen, everyone. Like I said, I can't do it for you guys. Whoop, it's taking away my whole face. Anyway, it says, I have Hashimoto's, currently in remission. 2 years ago, I was on the autoimmune protocol, AIP protocol, autoimmune paleo protocol. Now I'm on a balanced diet, including gluten-free grains and some seeds. Everything was okay, but for now, I've had joint and muscle pain for several months. Here's my question. Is it necessary to switch to the AIP protocol for reducing inflammation with such diseases as arthritis, fibromyalgia? I wonder what nutrition should look like in your opinion. I'll be grateful for your response. So the thing, with nutrition, it's hard, right? Because the answer depends on who's asking. And anyone who tries to tell you very confidently they know the answer probably doesn't. Like if they don't know more about you. This is called the Dunning-Kruger effect in science. The more you know, the more you know you don't know. And the less you know, the more you think you know. So people who don't know much about a topic, let's say, a chef, potentially a chef who talks about nutrition a lot, or used to, they don't know a lot about a topic. They'll make absolute statements where they're very confident. And that's very reassuring and appealing to people because they're like, oh, well, he's making these statements like this is yes and this is no, very black and white statements. And then you'll have scientists, and this is happening with coronavirus, for example, where people who are very knowledgeable on the topic are not giving very absolute answers at all because they can't. And this is the Dunning-Kruger effect, because the more they know, the more they realize they don't know. So the more I know about nutrition, reading that question, and the more I dig into, say, gut health or autoimmune issues, the more I realize there's so much more I need to learn. Whereas someone else who has a very superficial understanding might say, well, I figured it out. It's the paleo diet, for example. Do that, the end. And so they make a very absolute statement. It's very convincing and compelling. But the reality is that they don't, they think they know more than they actually do. And that's very dangerous. So to circle back to the question, which which let me bring it up again. So what's happening here is like you have to look at why. If you understand why the diet helps you, then you can start making informed long-term decisions about what you should do. Okay. People just like the problem with diet, say AIP, for example, or keto or whatever you want to do, is that they tell you what to do. They don't teach you. Okay, they're telling you what to do. You follow this list of rules. Don't eat these food groups. Don't eat these foods. Yes, you can eat these and so on. But then you're not actually being taught why. Because when you understand why, and then you become empowered and you can make informed decisions about what to do next. And chances are the diet you're following isn't a sustainable thing. And it's more of a, it's pretty drastic, but it's because you want immediate change. I get it. You're in pain or things haven't worked or no one's listening to you and you're willing to try anything at this stage. And that's fine. And in the short term, go for it, which it sounds like you did with AIP. And now you're on a more balanced diet, as you say, because AIP is not balanced. But now you need to understand, well, what worked about AI? Why did AIP help me? When you understand that, we can start to talk about, well, what should your diet actually look like? How could we help you pivot and tweak and change things so that the elements that are working for you, we understand why, and we just apply them to your actual lifestyle and diet. Okay, so you've gone off AIP, and now you've had joint and muscle pain for several months. Is it necessary to switch back to reduce inflammation? No, it's not necessary to do AIP. AIP cops a lot of flack in the science community because it's pretty restrictive, and it's a spin-off of the paleo diet, which is a load of, I get the principles, but it's kind of a load of horse shit. Like the premise of it, it's dumb, but it's healthy. It's definitely healthier than a lot of people do. But it's, if you understand the why, you realize you don't have to be paleo. You can kind of just tweak and change your own diet. You can still go out on weekends and have fun things with your friends. You don't have to lie that you're not having paleo, that you're not following paleo on certain days. That's what people were doing. You can eat anyway, I'm going on a tangent. To answer the question, why did AIP help me with my autoimmune issues or my inflammation issues? Well, let's look at food compounds in the gut, for example, and things that you might be intolerant to or things that trigger a food sensitivity. So I'd be first looking at the AIP is essentially an elimination diet, right? So what components of that helped you? That's the first thing you need to figure out. Was it no dairy? And that can help a lot of people. Either the dairy protein, right? Beta casein, alpha beta casein, or alpha A1 protein or A2. Yeah, it's A1 or A2. And the thing is, a lot of people are reacting to A1 and they don't react very poorly to A2, which is like sheep's and goat's milk. So that's if you're reacting to the actual protein in dairy food. Then you've got the carbohydrate compounds, so the FODMAPs you probably heard of. And these are important prebiotic fibers, but they might be irritating you. And I don't know a lot about your symptoms, for example, but I'd be exploring if those were an issue as well for you. Because when you start to pick out what worked and what didn't, then you can actually make a more sustainable eating pattern. It doesn't have to be AIP and not AIP. Why don't we just take the parts of AIP that worked for you and then put them into your normal lifestyle, your normal diet? Then you will actually find something that's sustainable long term and resolve your issue. So the other thing is, you asked about, is it necessary for AIP for diseases like arthritis? Well, it depends. Are we talking about rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis? I find with autoimmune issues like rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, celiac disease, obviously, everyone agrees. Gluten is damaging there, but I also find that gluten, that's the protein, right? It's not a FODMAP, it's not a carbohydrate, it's a protein. That one in particular, a lot of people respond well when they reduce it. Now, is it just the gluten? Is it because there's wheat fructans, the FODMAP as well, that you're cutting out? Is it just the foods that gluten is in are typically not very healthy for you, and cutting those out has second order consequences and effects that are beneficial? I don't know, but yeah, if it's rheumatoid arthritis, then I can see AIP helping because it cuts out gluten and it cuts out potential dairy protein issues as well. Reducing inflammation, so it's a difficult thing to measure. We're talking about low-grade inflammation, right? So not like I have a bruise, but more like, well, I feel like my cells are inflamed and it causes me pain and the fibromyalgia, which we don't really know. But to answer the question, is it necessary to switch to the AIP protocol to do that? No. You want to find out why did it work? Take those bits and use that and have someone help you. Don't do it on your own. Obviously, it's like really difficult, right? Have someone who knows what they're doing help you to tweak and develop your own eating pattern that takes those good parts that work for you, but also fit in the parts that are going to make it sustainable for you, so that you and your family can eat the same meals, for example, so that you can go out and enjoy eating at restaurants, but are making informed decisions, so you don't have to be all or nothing. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer to that one. But it's just like, it's so hard for me to answer those questions definitively. I'll prioritize you guys who are live on the Facebook page asking me questions. So Heather said recommendations for IBS, please. Well, assuming you've ruled out things more sinister, then you can go a low FODMAP diet. Gut-directed hypnotherapy also seems to be very useful. Both, even better. That's what we do with my clients. So if you're interested, let me know. But I mean, that's what I would be going down the road of looking at. Hey, does anxiety trigger your symptoms? One good question to ask yourself is are my symptoms the same when I go on holiday, vacation, or are they better or are they worse? And based off that answer, we can start to put the pieces of the puzzle together. The less someone knows, the more stubbornly they know it. That's hilarious. Yeah, so true. Yeah, it's Dunning-Kruger. The more you know about something, the more you know, oh shit, I don't know that much. There's a lot to learn here. I need to learn more. And then you got someone who doesn't really understand things and is just yes, this is it. Here, you live happily ever after. The end. I've done it. I've saved humanity. How to lose belly fat quickly. You can't. You can lose it, not quickly. I have fibromyalgia, hyperprolactin IBS, and trigeminal neuralgia. I don't know what that is. It sounds like something in the brain, if that's even the English word. Can these be helped? Fibro, yes. IBS, yes. I'm not sure about the other ones. Hyperprolactin, if I think about fibromyalgia, we definitely work with and can help. I actually have a video on that the other day. If you after this video, if you scroll down, Donna, on my page, I did a little video about fibromyalgia. It's 5 minutes. And IBS, yeah, I just spoke about that one, right, with Heather. Okay, I used to have overactive thyroid with Graves. And then a radioiodine to stop the thyroid producing thyroxine. So now you're on levothyroxine. So now it goes to hypothyroid. Can I do anything through diet to regulate my thyroid and lose weight, please? I also have fibromyalgia, IBS, and endometriosis. Well, so you're not alone. It's not uncommon for someone to have had Graves, then it becomes underactive, and then to also have all these other issues going on. I just, I'm genuinely not trying to like pitch my service or something, but it's like, when it gets that complicated, a generic meal plan is not going to cut it for you anymore. Or it doesn't cut it for anyone anyway, but like it's definitely like now you need some individualized help because a lot of those things are overlapping, right? And it snowballs. It snowballs the wrong way, our health, but it also snowballs back the right way. So if we fix one thing, it's going to help with the fibromyalgia symptoms, and then you're going to feel better there in your, if you've got anxiety or depression or something like that, that will improve. And then you'll be able to go outside and be more active, and that will help with your IBS as well. And then the endometriosis, well, with specific nutrition things we would do for that as well. But like everything's going to help. It's just going to snowball and get better and better. But there's no meal plan that you can follow. Meal plans don't work anyway. Yeah, they're great. They're a great starting point. That's kind of the start line, and then we need to build on it straight away. So if I can give you something actionable, and I generally think an elimination diet will help you at least figure some things out, because there's probably some foods you're eating that your body is not agreeing with right now. So I do always recommend, like for a lot of people, hey, start with gluten-free. Why is it the gluten? Not necessarily, but when you go gluten-free, you have to cut out a lot of wheat fructans as well. And so that can help for IBS, for example. I cut out those. See, I don't know which is the main issue for you, so what to focus on first. But I go gluten-free, like properly, for 2 weeks. If IBS is a big thing, I'd cut out onion and garlic as well and see if that helps. From there, we'd have to make a decision if that helps you or not. That's how I would start that. And just to let you guys know, if you are interested in getting one-to-one help for your issue, whether it is specific, like medical nutrition related, or if it's, hey, you just got a weight loss goal, then comment interested, and I can message you later with some more details about how it would work. Okay, Rachel, a FODMAP question. Cool. How long do you recommend people to follow the low FODMAP diet for? Also, when reintroducing foods, what would you recommend someone to do if they triggered all the food groups? Well, I think a lot of people probably resonate with this one. Comment yes if that is you. You've tried a low FODMAP diet and you tried to re-challenge foods, and you just were reacting to everything. So the first question, how long do you recommend people to follow the diet for? Not long. So remember, it's three phases, but let's say it's 2 phases, right? Elimination and re-challenge. You don't want to eliminate FODMAPs forever. They're good for you. They're important for your gut health. A lot of them are prebiotic fibers. So the bacteria in your stomach need to feed on these to flourish and to be in balance. And if your gut bacteria are out of balance, what we call dysbiosis, then we believe it leads to a lot of health issues down the track, second order consequences, not necessarily immediate things, but later on. And that's something we definitely want to avoid. And that's the problem with restrictive diets and elimination diets, right? So you only want to eliminate for as long as necessary before you can re-challenge, basically. So, I have some meal plans and stuff, and an online program that's like an introductory kind of thing. And I say 2 weeks. And some people takes a little bit longer because it depends on how well they stick to it, etc. Right? But if you can get to a point. It's all about your symptoms, right? The point is you want to be able to see if it helps relieve symptoms. If it does, you just want to be not necessarily asymptomatic, but basically where your symptoms are so low or they're not affecting your day-to-day life that if you were to re-challenge a food, you would be able to tell straight away and be like, oh, it was that thing I ate that caused that, because I've been fine otherwise. That's where you want to get to. Okay, so some people can do that in a week. So, it kind of ranges, but shouldn't take that long, Rachel. If it's been taking you weeks and weeks and months, then it's not right. It's either not helping you or you're not doing it correctly. And then when reintroducing foods, if you react to everything, then there's so many variables, right? So first I need to think about, well, are you doing it properly? Were you completely symptom free or pretty much before you started re-challenging? Were you doing the right quantities of foods? There's too many variables. Is anxiety, is the mindset and stuff, is that a major trigger for you as well? Are you factoring that in those things? What else is going on? I wish I could. It's like these questions are. It should be simple, right? Oh, I can follow that. Oh, low FODMAP. I can just follow that meal plan, and then I'll just follow this re-challenge schedule, and I'll live happily ever after. But there's so much individual variation with gut health issues because, well, what caused your IBS? Is it IBS? What causes it is going to affect what you react to. And it's like, it's hard for me to say without knowing you personally, but hopefully giving you some things to think about. And if you want help, send me a message. So this one's on YouTube. Please show how to repopulate the gut if we have histamine intolerance. I don't think I understand the question, because maybe you want to repopulate if you've been having an antibiotic for a long, long period of time. But a histamine intolerance, well, then you would be eliminating the histamine foods or forming foods in your diet, and then trying to re-challenge those very strategically to see what you tolerate and what you don't. And it tends to differ food by food. So now when I talk about histamines, I'm talking about food chemical intolerance, right? That's not FODMAP intolerance. It's different. Food chemicals is like, hey, do you eat things and then you get sinus issues or headaches or skin issues, like rashes or itchy skin. This is when we're talking about potentially food chemical intolerance, which is different. You got to sort of figure that out. And some people have both. I don't find it. Yeah, I guess it's pretty common to be intolerant to FODMAPs and a certain food chemical as well. Yeah, that's something we can help with as well, of course. So Rachel's extended her question a little bit, I think. Someone triggers to all the FODMAP groups when reintroducing. What do you reckon? Oh yeah, I have IBD, lymphocytic colitis. Well, hypermobility, wheat allergy, suspected celiac disease, being gluten-free for a long time. Suspected celiac disease. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're strictly gluten-free, then at least you're ticking the box there. So I have four clients at the moment with an IBD, and one other with a microscopic colitis, essentially. So it's like, do you have flare-ups often? Do you have to treat that with medication sometimes? Is that in remission? These are the kind of things I'm thinking of first, Rachel. And then, so like the best way to approach this kind of stuff is like, you've got to have, for you to put the pieces of the puzzle together and like find patterns and figure out, well, what causes what, you've got to approach it very methodically. And that's what we do. So definitely an element of tracking what you're having and your symptoms, and then try to see the patterns and match them up. And then you can, try to rule things out. And it's just a process of elimination. That's what we're doing with people very successfully. And it's really hard to do by yourself. Like, you have to be accountable to yourself. Well, that's going to fail. I mean, none of us can be accountable to ourselves. You've got to be very disciplined if you're not around other people who have a similar issue and talk about the same things, and you don't have that support accessible to you. It's really difficult. I get it. And now, like, you can't, for a lot of us, right? We haven't been able to go out and see our dietitian or see our physio or go to the gym or any of that stuff. So it's all been interrupted. Online, do it online is the way of the future. It's not going away now. I wish I bought some Zoom shares, but essentially what we do with clients, it's all virtual. Always has been, always will be. It's faster. It's more convenient. If you're going to get health, if you're going to get tailored or individualized help with your health, you can get it online, especially nutrition. It's faster. It's more convenient. Like you're probably sat there now in your pajamas. If we had a client consult, you could literally stay in bed and do your consult. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to find babysitter. You don't have waiting rooms. You don't have a 40-minute time cap on your consultation. Like, it has to be convenient. Convenience will be far superior. And in your instance, I think, well, it's again one of those cases where it's like, you need some individual help. Have you worked with someone before? That's the kind of route I'd be going with. Melinda, I'm 49, hysterectomy. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're finding this useful, please give it a like and a share. I don't even know if you can do that on Instagram, but give it a like and share. People on Instagram, by the way, so I'm doing all the comments on Facebook live first, and they're probably not going to get to yours, and they'll disappear on Instagram. If I can find them later, I'll try and reply to you, or message me your question. Just DM me, and then I can do voice replies and try to tick off a lot of people. Melinda, 49, hysterectomy 9 years ago. I've tried Weight Watchers, Paleo, Atkins, Strictly. None worked. I exercise 5 nights a week with an elliptical 30 minutes in either strength or ab circuit for 30 minutes. I now do a mix of low carb and paleo. I have 50 pounds to lose. What am I doing wrong? Well, this is a good question because, Melinda, you are not alone. I know there's going to be like hundreds of people who see that question, and I'll be like, oh, I'm really happy she asked that and was brave enough to ask that. So thanks for sharing that with us. What are you doing wrong? I'd have to see how many calories do you eat on average per day? Start with that. Can you answer me very quickly? If you cannot, we'd want to look at that. The hysterectomy, like when we talk about perimenopause and then after menopause as well, it's like there's hormone changes that happen, and they influence where your body stores fat, but they also influence your appetite hormones as well. And then, of course, at 49 years old, your basal metabolic rate, the calories you burn just to exist, just like sitting watching this video right now, it's a lot lower than what it was when you were 39, for example. So there's there's so many ways to go about it, but it's no surprise to me that Weight Watchers, Paleo, Atkins, Strict didn't work. They're too restrictive. If you can't go out and enjoy food, then it's eventually you're going to stop doing it, because humans are really good at continually doing things we enjoy, and we're really bad at continually doing things we do not enjoy. In fact, we will always stop, right? So nutrition, you can't think of it like 100%. I'm all in, I'm all out. It's got to be more like 80, 90%, because following a nutrition plan and trying to do it 100%, it's not perfect. It's prison. I can't remember who said that, but following a nutrition plan 100% is not perfect. It's prison. Okay, you need to be able to follow an eating pattern mostly, and then kind of enjoy yourself as well, but without sabotaging results. That's what you have to learn, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It's complicated when you're trying to do it all on your own and by yourself, and what you find is if you're not careful, you yo-yo, and I've I speak with clients who have been yo-yoing for 10, 20, 30 years plus. And at some point you need to get a plan that's specific to you and someone who can really hold your hand, virtually, of course. It's coronavirus, don't hold hands. Hold your hand virtually and guide you through the process. Okay. The generic stuff just isn't going to cut it. And you've got to learn some things, right? Like I said at the beginning, Weight Watchers, Paleo Atkins, they're telling you what to do. They're not teaching you. It's like a little nuance, but it's really important. So when you learn what to do yourself and why it works, you're empowered to make decisions when life throws you some curveballs. Okay. I'd also ask, what about your relationship with food? This is a big one with clients. With our clients, we have not only like me and the dietitian coaches, we have a mindset coach as well who talks about like mindset, motivation, goal setting, your relationship with food. How can we start to change those habits? Because people can do really well 6 days of the week, but if they identify as stress eaters or emotional eaters, then all that work is undone, whether it's a weight loss goal, whether it's trying to follow a plan, elimination diet plan. And so that's an element I need to dig into as well, Melinda. So obviously, if you don't want to do it here, but send me a message. So I'm going to turn my banner off. Rachel wasn't symptom. Sorry, guys, I'm slowly getting to you. I definitely wasn't symptom free when I started reintroducing. I do have anxiety as well, which does trigger my IBD. I bet you do, because IBD is like, it's severe, right? I mean, I know like some people have bad IBS, but the IBD clients is like, I can't imagine. So have you worked on the anxiety side of things? Because that's going to contribute big time to your symptoms or triggers, and you definitely weren't symptom free. So then as well, like I get it, you were like trying to do it, that's kind of helping. All right, I'll re-challenge something, and I want to make some progress, and then at the end you're just like, well, this is just a shit show. I don't know, shit show, and I didn't even mean that pun. There you go. But this is just like, this is terrible, right? Like I don't know what helped, or if I reacted or if not. So have you worked with anyone? I would look at, I genuinely don't even care if it's me. It's not about me. It's about you. I want you to like try to find someone in your area or something who can help guide you through the process. That's the next step, in my opinion. Message me, Rachel. Melinda. Okay, good. We can continue. About 1,500. Too high. Straight up too high. I could do a screen share and show you guys, but I was mucking around this morning anyway. When Daniela was here looking at calorie count. So if you want to work out what calories you need to have per day for certain things, I recommend TDEE calculator.net. It stands for Total Daily Energy Expenditure. TDEE calculator.net. You can enter in your details there, but it factors in body fat percentage, which I really like. It's based on the Mifflin-St. Jeor equation, which we learned in dietetics. We used to do it by the book. I mean, like, I'm not that old, but apparently when I learned, we were backwards. But so you'll see, like, as your body fat percentage goes up as well, your metabolic rate goes down. Well, it doesn't go down, but it's not as high as it could be if you had more muscle mass. And 1,500 is too much per day, especially if you think it's that, and it's probably a little bit more. And that's a whole nuance thing as well. We all underreport. I think dietitians underreport the least in studies, but it's still like 15%. So yeah, it sucks. Like, that's why losing weight is so hard, especially as we're getting older, because it's possible to do if you're told what to do and you understand what you're doing and someone's helping you and keeping you accountable and making sure you make progress. But it's like, it takes a long time. That's why it's hard, because you got to do it then for a long, long time. The human body was just very good at, if you think about, like, for example, I did the rowing machine at the gym, and 30 calories, it was only 2 minutes, like a bit less than 2 minutes. It felt like 20 minutes. And I was like, after I just thought, the amazing human body, it was so efficient. There was so much power that I generated there, and it only cost 30 calories. So you can see how advantageous that was way back when, in caveman days, say 10,000 years ago, whatever, that we could eat so little but produce so much power and effort to do things, to survive and to flourish how we have. So advantageous. And now, of course, it's the opposite, right? Now we have so much food and we don't have to do stuff. So we have so many. So now we're eating 3 meals a day. Even that's just eating 3 meals, 3 solid, healthy meals a day will get you to 1,500 calories. You can forget about having snacks. And so that's why it's just so difficult for people to lose weight, because for a lot of them, I'm talking about women especially. We work with a lot of women who are like 40 plus, or 50 plus actually. And I just need to give them a little bit of a virtual slap in the face, a little reality check. Hey, this is kind of where you're at. This is where you need to be. And I'm going to help you do that. And this is how we're going to do it sustainably, so that you're able to stick with it to get to your goal, because you want to get to your goal in 6 weeks. And I'm here to tell you, it's going to take you 6 months plus. And if you think there's any other way to do that, you're kidding yourself, and you're going to end up back where you started, and you're just going to end up being the same weight in a year's time, but a year older. So, half of my job with like clients who want to lose weight as well, which is, most of us, 99% of us, it's like trying to teach people to be patient. Like, people just, like, we humans are just impatient. It takes us decades to gain weight, and then we just want to lose it in like 5 weeks. It doesn't help that we have, magazines and stuff saying lose 20 pounds, lose 15 kilos in 3 weeks with this plan that Hugh Jackman did. It's like, it's just not the reality. Does anyone else have questions? Otherwise, I've got to hit up the ones that were pre-submitted. Again, Instagram, if you guys ask me questions, I won't see them until after, but like, just DM me your question and I can try to reply to you there. I discovered I stress eat. I've been working on that for several months. Yeah, Melinda. So, I genuinely believe that you've been trying very hard with your goal. You've tried so many things. So obviously for a long time, it's probably fair to say. There's probably 1 or 2 moments in the week, or maybe it's one moment every couple of weeks, that is enough to undo your progress. And it could be that it's a moment of like, stress eating, or however we want to call it. And why do we turn to food? Why in quarantine are people putting on weight? Like, why do we? And it's not like that's a bad thing or anything, but like, why? Why do we go to food when we're bored? I know I have the answer, but it's a whole nother topic. It's dopamine. If you want to like try start searching about that. So Melinda, my point being, like, I try to identify, hey, what is there patterns? What triggers me to stress eat? Let's look at that first. It's work, or it's, for some clients, it's like a particular day. Oh, every Tuesday at work, like, I get IBS symptoms, or I feel stressed out. And we find out what it is. When you identify that, you can take steps to fix it, right? Until you've identified it, well, you're going to keep spinning your wheels. You're going to go nowhere. So, so there's that as well, Melinda. There's quite a few things. I genuinely believe, like, you're just at a point where you're going to keep spinning your wheels if you're following the generic plans and stuff. You don't have to restrict yourself to get to your goal. We can teach you how you can get to your goal and still eat foods you love and not sabotage results. And you don't have to exercise like mad all the time as well. That's, the saying, you can't outrun a poor diet or a bad diet, is very true. It's very true. Exercise is important for health, okay? And it can get you results quicker. And the older you are, the more important it is. But if I'd say it's about 10% of your results. 90% is your nutrition and your habits around nutrition, and your mindset around it as well. That's what you've got to focus on. I don't have the answer in like a piece of paper, like, here you go. I wish I had. How good would that be? Fortunately, it doesn't quite work like that. Okay. So I'm going to grab another question. And again, you guys, if you found it useful or you want some individualized help with a specific medical issue, particularly if it's autoimmune or digestive, that's what we do. So send me a message and we can see if we can help. Melinda, I was about to do your question that you had pre-submitted before. So good. I'm glad you got, if you have any follow-up questions, ask me now for sure. I'm glad I got you live. This one was, what is your advice diet for an underactive thyroid? If you go to, I have so much information on that underactive thyroid as well, and like IBS and gut health. You guys, if you go to my website, hang on, I'm going to bring it up here because it's kind of a pain to try to spell it. Dietversusdisease.org, VS, dietversusdisease.org. I have like 170 articles or something, but like really in depth, really science-based on like what to do for specific medical issues. That's the whole point of the website. So underactive thyroid, it's slightly different if it's Hashimoto's or not, like an autoimmune issue. But, you're probably best going there to read it rather than me trying to explain it here. This is a good one about food sensitivity testing. I'm going to bring it up here. Hang on a sec, you guys. I have to post it as my own question. What do you know about food sensitivity testing? So food allergy testing, right? Of course, that's accurate because an allergy creates an immune response you can measure in the blood. Food intolerance testing is not useful in my opinion. Has anyone done a food intolerance test? And did they find it useful or not? Like, let me know in the comments, yes or no, if you found it useful. Because what I find from people to speak with and just seeing in clinical practice is like, you'll do a test and it'll come back and it'll be like, hey, you can't eat 9,300 foods out of 10,000. You're intolerant. Good day. Bye. And you're just like, oh, so, well, now what? So here's the problem. So a lot of what we find is like a client will have a food intolerance test and be like, yeah, I can't eat pistachios. And I'll be like, all right, is that true? And they'll be like, oh, I don't know, but I haven't been eating them because of the tolerance test. And I'll be like, all right, eat some pistachios. And they eat some pistachios. I'm like, oh, what happened? They're like, nothing. I'm like, oh, okay, so why were you avoiding pistachios? It's like, well, because the thing said. It's like, oh, well, okay, can you see the problem here? So it's like, A, it's inaccurate. The science is just not there yet. If we could just wave a magic wand and fix your intolerance, we would, right? If we could just do a finger prick or a blood test and get your results and be like, here, this is it. Like, this is what you're intolerant to and this is what you tolerate. And, that's how it is. Then I guess we would. But it's wrong. It doesn't work like that. There's so many gaps in the science. So the tests are typically incorrect. The food sensitivity, like food intolerance tests. And they also don't tell you what to do after, right? They just say, Yeah, so someone else has put here, not really useful, said chicken was sensitive food for me. And I bet you probably eat chicken all the time and it's fine. So they don't tell you what to do after. It's just like, hey, here's a problem and we don't have a solution. Ciao. I don't know about you, but that's not a very useful service for me. I kind of want answers. So that's why I would work with an elimination diet. I'm assuming this is for digestive issues. I don't have that context. Why do some other diets seem to work miraculously for some people but not others? I need the context, right? What diets for whom? There's too many variables there. Some people might be doing it properly and some not. Some, it might just really work for their crazy, ridiculous lifestyle or eating habits. Let's try and think of an example, like a carnivore diet, right? You guys heard of carnivore diet? It's exactly what it sounds like. You just eat meat and animal products. And of course, 99.9% of people, like, it's disgusting and no one wants to do that and they can't stick with it. But there is the exception to the rule. There's always an exception, outliers. And we don't want to focus on outliers. Is everyone going to be LeBron James at basketball? No, he's the outlier. So it's like, let's look at the majority of people. Can the majority of people enjoy a carnivore diet? No. But perhaps you're looking at the outlier when you say it works miraculously for some. And you need to focus on the vast majority of us regular people. Rachel, yeah, you do. Yep, you do. That's why I think you're probably at a point where it's not necessary, because if for you to eat gluten, right, it's gonna like wreak havoc. I'm guessing. So I think that's why I said before, you probably the diet protocol I would have for you anyway would be not including gluten. I can't, like, just thinking about the food from a nutrition point of view, foods containing gluten they don't add much value to you from a nutritious point of view. However, food is more than nutrition, right? It's the social component of food that's very important. Everything we do as humans is around food and mealtime. That's when gluten-containing foods are like top of the pile, right? Think about like croissants and donuts and things like that I'd have. So it's kind of like a pros and cons thing. But for you, I think you've been living so long gluten-free. I wouldn't be changing that anyway, if that makes sense. Heather, I keep seeing the importance of taking a probiotic. What is the best kind? Does it have to be refrigerated? Does it have to be a tablet form, or are they just effective? I can see you've been doing some research, Heather. It's a very informed question. Yes, probiotic quality matters. Yes, it typically would have to be refrigerated. Because they've done tests, like a lot of probiotics, you eat them and then they don't even make it past stomach acid, right? The probiotic has to get to your colon, your large intestine, so the bottom of the digestive tract. It goes stomach, and then it has to go through these, 7 meters or whatever it is, a small intestine, and then to the gut, the colon, the large intestine. And a lot of them don't make it there. What's the best kind? Well, Heather, depends on what's your goal. I feel like we've spoken before, but I can't remember. I apologize what your condition is. But again, I have if you go to Google and type diet versus disease probiotic IBS, you will find a very thorough article on the best probiotics based on actual evidence, so things that have been tested. So does it make it to the large intestine? Is it actually useful there? Which strains for what? Because then if someone's got constipation, or someone has diarrhea, or someone has microscopic colitis, or someone has diverticulitis, like it depends on those things as well. So yeah, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So the more I dig into these things and write about these topics and stuff, the more I'm like, oh, wow. If someone says, "Hey, here's the probiotic, just take this. This is for everyone. It's amazing," then there are more. Yep, I can't sugarcoat that. I hope that helped, Heather. What else? The question was how to deal with Helicobacter pylori or H. pylori. Again, diet versus disease, H. pylori. There's a good chance I've written about the topic you want to know about, and that's, I can't even remember. But if you go there, it's all there. Any nutritional advice for interstitial cystitis? No. I think that's a bladder thing, if I had to guess, but I don't know no, you'd have to ask the doctor or something. I can't help with that one. Ooh, what kind of oil do you use for cooking? Is that a good question? What kind of oil do you guys use? I would like to know. Let me know. And on Instagram, if you just joined and you got questions, like they all disappear and stuff. So I'm just going to answer them later, or actually just message me your question in the DMs, because then I can voice reply or I can reply there all at once, and it's much faster. Because I do want to answer you guys as well, but on Facebook I can bring the questions up on the screen, so it's like a more interesting experience for people. And the questions don't disappear. What kind of oil do you use for cooking? It looks like I asked myself. I promise someone else asked me. I could just be like, ooh, yeah, this is a good question. I might sound intelligent. So we just bought oil the other day, and we bought extra virgin olive oil. We almost bought, you can buy like canola oil or raps oil, whatever you call it. That's the cheapest, right? It's look, long term, it's probably not that great for you. How much canola oil do you eat? That's the real question. So the dose makes the poison. I'm not particularly fussed, and some oils are expensive, so you got to pick and choose your battles there. We bought extra virgin olive oil. I thought, you know what? I think I'll buy a better quality one. It has high resistance to oxidative stress. So essentially, they've done tests on it, and it does very well at high temperatures for a long period of time before it oxidizes and goes rancid. When we talk about fat and oil, oxidative stress causes it to go rancid, is the word, and it spoils, and then it's particularly producing compounds that are really bad for you. So you want an oil that maintains its stability. It's stable at high temperatures for a long period of time and doesn't transfer flavor typically. Depends what you're cooking, right? So long story short, extra virgin olive oil, you can also use it just as a dressing or something. So I really like that. I also use coconut oil, or when we have it, I do sometimes. If I'm making some sort of Asian dish or cuisine, then I will use coconut oil, virgin coconut oil. It has it's so high in saturated fats that it's really stable at high temperatures and for long periods of time. So, but of course, it makes stuff taste like coconut or thereabouts. So, sometimes if I'm making like Mexican, like taco night or whatever, I'm not going to use coconut oil. So I think that's kind of my answer. Hopefully that helps. Oh, hey, Monica. Coconut oil, olive oil. Yeah. It depends, right? It totally depends. Am I never going to use canola oil? Like, I don't eat that stuff. No, I'll eat some if you use canola oil. But if you're deep frying, samosas every day in canola oil, well, the canola oil is the least of your worries. How come you're having some deep fried samosas every day? That's where we need to start, right? It's kind of like the question is important, but it's also, it needs context. Like, how much do you actually, you're focusing on the wrong thing here for health. People are like, oh, well, I need to eat, just, organic or this type of oil, or, and it's like they're eating what's that mean? Organic peanut butter cups versus regular. It's like, hang on, you're eating peanut butter cups. It doesn't matter if it's organic or not. You're focusing on the 1% of health when you're eating peanut butter cups. If you've got a health goal that's probably not in line with it. We should probably be looking at that aspect. You're focusing on the wrong thing. I see it all the time. And then this one. Anyway, start to wrap up, you guys. Does anyone else have a question? Or someone who put sunflower, avocado oil is a good one as well. Expensive though, right? So it's like, you're going to meet people where they're at. I've got one more question here. Pre-submitted one. I did promise everyone I would get to those. This one's so big it's going to cover my face. Oh no, not this one. Oh, someone did TDE. Okay, I'll get to that in a sec. I take 23 tablets a day. I can immediately say, probably some in the US, right? I am amazed at the drug culture there. It's crazy. Every time I go there, and ads on TV for pharmaceutical drugs, that's insane. Anyway, chronic pain. Okay, lots of comorbidities. I'm so fed up with pills that don't work. Yeah, the pills are Band-Aid, right? You got a cut on your leg and you put a Band-Aid to stop the bleeding, and it helps initially, but does it solve the problem? Maybe you got to disinfect that cut. Maybe it needs stitches. It's really deep. The pills kind of just the surface. I have low mood, depression, anxiety. I'm desperate for a way out. Yep, I hear you. I know exactly where you are coming from because I speak with these people every day, people who are in the same situation and need that help. I tried all the diets on the planet, still gain weight. I need help. So all I can say for you, Lisa, is you need to work with someone who is really going to help you through the process, because I don't want to say it's a big mountain. It's not big. It's a long process. It needs to be more long term, and because it's long term, I know that's going to be really hard for you to do on your own, near impossible. Hence why you've tried everything and you're still stuck, right? It's difficult because it's long term. So you need to be in an environment or set up an approach that supports you long term, and that's going to be you can't do it alone. There's just no way. It's too grandiose of a project. Definitely achievable. Many people have done it. You need to see those people. You need to see that it's possible. You need to surround yourself with people who will show you that it's possible, and other people who can help you get there and pick you up when you fall, and help you get back on track if you fall off track. And that's the reality of the situation. I wish there was an easier way to do it or a faster way. That's the reality. So I guess you've spoken to your doctor. So you need one-to-one help. We do this with clients, exactly this. So it's perfect because you can get the help even if you're stuck at home. So a lot of people don't go out that much, or for whatever reason it's difficult. Send me a message. This is why I have the service I have. It's particularly useful for a certain for everyone, I think, but especially a certain subset of people. And Lisa, you're one of those. As you said, the depression, anxiety, that's such a big piece of the puzzle. People are trying to reach their health goals, and they have this anxiety or depression that they're just sweeping under the rug, or by the diet culture being told just to, well, don't worry about that. Just follow this carnivore diet. It'll solve your problems. Well, it's like if you invert a pyramid, right? The big piece at the top, it's mindset, mental health. Let's fix that first. Then let's look at your nutrition. And we can we can kind of do them at the same time, but it's not one or the other. The approach you need to take has to factor that in as well, Lisa. So I hope you message me. Okay, last one. And now I'm hopping off. I plug my data into the site you suggested. It suggests 118 grams of protein for me. That's high. I say 30% of your calories. So whatever 30% of 1680 is, and then divide it by 4. And that will be your grams of protein. Is that right? Yes. So I would do that. Predominantly vegetarian, you're never going to get to that. So I have a client who is predominantly vegetarian. Hang on, I'm just going to change this. For anyone who's interested to learn more about a personalized approach, the service that we have. Comment interested, okay? So, yeah, vegetarian, like I have a client who just, we can get a 20% of your calories from protein is very achievable as a vegetarian and vegans, and is in line with good health and whatever your goal is. So I'd be aiming for that. So even go 20% of 1680 and divide it by 4. Yeah, I think that's going to work. But 118 is super high. I'm not sure what exercise level you put and body fat percentage, but that would have influenced it as well. I find trying to meet that need means protein powder. 100%. It does. 20% of calories you can get to without protein powder, because we have clients who do it all the time. But if you want to get to 30%, which is, it's more ideal. If you do muscle training, like weight training or resistance training, which you probably do, and hopefully you do, get above the comment box, then you do want to supplement with protein powder that you tolerate if you find one you like. I hate to waste my calories on a slurry when I'd rather eat food. Get a strict, like I bought one today. It's whey protein isolate, so that's dairy, and get an isolate, soy protein isolate, pea protein isolate. It's strictly protein. You're essentially going to get 25 grams for about 150 calories. Yeah, it's 150 calories you could eat, but you can't eat that many things for 150, and you're certainly not going to get 25 grams of protein for it. So in my perspective, it's worth the trade-off big time. Like that's a win-win deal. 25 grams of protein for 150 calories, you can't get it anywhere else. But of course, it depends on your goal, right? I don't know your goal. Yes, I do. You're right at the very bottom. Do I need to just suck it up if I want to lose those stubborn 10 pounds? You don't have to. No, you could. You don't have to use a protein powder. If you use a protein powder in place of 150 calories from food, I think you will get to your goal slightly quicker, or you'll build more muscle mass, and you'll be able to sustain that easier when you're at your goal. Yeah, hopefully that helped you. Lots of weightlifting, thanks. Yeah, you got to hit your, I would be going for 30%. You're leaving money on the table now. So you go to the gym, and the gym's like, oh, that was a sweet workout. Here's $50. And you're just like, I'll take 30. You keep 20. It's like you're just leaving money on the table there. You're leaving gains, potential benefits on the table because you don't enjoy a protein drink. In saying that, you're leaving it on the table in that it's just going to take you longer to collect that money later. You can still get it, but it's like, well, if you want it as fast as possible, you sound like you're frustrated with the 10 pounds. I'd be looking to that. But there's the argument, well, yeah, look, I'd rather eat 150 calories as well from food, but it ain't going to be 25 grams of protein and 0 fat and 0 carbs. Good. I'm glad it helps. Monica, I've been 2 weeks on the plan. I feel much better. No bloating at all. It's another well for me. That makes my day good. Awesome. So Monica is a client. So I'm glad one client's come on. Still have constipation, but that doesn't hurt at all. My question is, where's is this all healthy food going? I mean, do you mean like in your digestive tract? So, you know, with a lot of people we work with, it's like they've got several goals, right? And we're working together for a long time, and we can pretty much resolve them all, or at least make sure the client knows what to do and feels empowered and has learnt what they need to do and gets it so they can do it on their own, right? That's the whole point. You don't want to be paying someone to help you for the rest of your life, which you will be if you keep yo-yoing, right? So we fix the bloating. What I find with digestive health clients is, like, when I ask how are your symptoms, I split them up. I say symptoms like gas and bloating and stuff, and then constipation and or diarrhea or whatever it is that's actual the bowel habit itself, the bowel movement. We talk about it separately because we can fix one and then the other one's a different approach. So the bloating and stuff is typically going to be food intolerance related. Constipation, you guys, is like, oh, it's a whole nother beast. I want to say it's easier than diarrhea to resolve, but of course there's outliers, like I said. But constipation, Monica, it's like we go through a protocol. So with Taylor and me, we will go through a protocol of, like, we need to try this and then this on top of the diet you're already doing, and in re-challenging foods and making sure you're eating a varied diet. We're going to have to introduce a couple things. Yeah, does that answer the question? I hope so. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. If you want one-to-one help, maybe you've been stuck 10 years plus and you've not resolved your issues and they're not getting better or they're getting worse, whether it's digestive issue or autoimmune or something else, or maybe you just got a weight goal and you've got fatty liver or something and it scared you, or you had a health scare and you want to learn about a topic and some skills that is the most important thing in your life, which is the thing that the food that goes into our mouth, 3-5 times a day, right? It's something you ought to learn about and know and understand where your body responds with certain foods. So if you want some individualized help with that, comment interested, okay? And I will check the comments for the next couple of days. And because if you comment, I can send you a message and explain how it works, and we can talk about, well, if it'd be a fit or not, essentially, if we can help you or not. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful. Please give us a share if you liked it, or even just a thumbs up if you don't want to share it. That's fine as well. I appreciate that. It helps just bump it up a little bit. If you want to speak with us on a call and actually go over, well, what are your issues? Can we map out a plan for you? And then we can decide if you want to work with us or not. You can also go to dietversusdisease.com/free-session and book something in there. And lastly, it's dietversusdisease.org, where I have all my articles and things like that. If you want to look up a specific topic, I probably have a really detailed guide there for you to have a look at. Good. All right. I'll speak to you guys later.